Dear friends, a very warm welcome to the third episode of live show series BookFlix Live, where authors become your mentors. It is a platform that provides guidance and mentorship for achieving success by design live. As I have shared in my social media platforms, we have a very special guest today, and his name is Joy King Birze. He is an author, writer with over a decade of expertise in the literary world. He is a master degree holder from the University of Queensland, Australia. Dear friends, Mr. Joy King Birze has successfully written and published over 100 books across ranges of genres, including fiction, non-fiction, biographies, and self-help books. Many of these books have become bestsellers. So, without any further ado, please join me to welcome Mr. Joy King Birze to our show of BookFlix Live episode number 3. Mr. Joy King Birze, a very warm welcome to BookFlix Live.
Thank you so much for having me.
Mr. Joy, actually, since last 1 week or so, I had been talking in the social media about you and the news that we are going to welcome you in the show. We are going to have the opportunity to ask questions from you about your book, about the frameworks,
Yes,
about the strategies, from your book. And I'm getting a lot of good feedback from our clients, especially. And really great to have you here. A warm welcome to this show again.
thank you. Thank you once again.
Mr. Joy King Birze, viewers, he is here with all of us. We will have the opportunity to, interact with him, ask questions from him if we have any, and you can ask questions through the numbers which has been shared below at the bottom, and you can watch up the numbers, and even you can comment in the live show that we are going to have right now, and we'll be able to answer to the questions accordingly. Uh, Mr. Joy, I know you. I have learned about you. I have, gone through your profile, and a lot of people know about you. I don't need any introduction for you. However, it will be great if we can have very brief, uh, you know, bio about you from yourself. It will be great for the viewers to hear from you. Over to you.
Of course, of course. So, first of all, thank you, viewers, for being over here, for wanting to hear about this book and supporting us in this. So, my name is Joy King Birje. By education, I've done my master's in human resources from Queensland, and I have around 20 years of work experience now. But this book is different. This book is, I've written a lot of books over a period of time. Writing has been my passion. It's something that I really enjoy doing, and I'm blessed to do
I
something
think you
professionally
have
which I love to do.
written, Mrs. Joy, sorry to interrupt you. You have written over
Yes,
50 books so far.
over 100 actually, right now. That's the
Wow,
count. And
that's truly
literally,
inspiring. Yeah, truly inspiring. Yeah, please carry on.
thank you. Yes, so I do love writing, and this book is something that is really close to my heart. I mean, Sudipto sir and I have been discussing the science of this book since a really long time now, and it took us a lot of discussions to finally start writing this book. Once we were very convinced, completely had the science sorted. So, Life Without It is not a regular self help or motivation guide. And by the end of this show, this podcast, I hope I am able to make you understand, for those who've not read the book, that this is something that is a must read for all of us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That's really amazing to hear from your mouth. Uh, Mrs. Joy, what we have done in the previous two episodes is that uh, with Sudipto sir, we have discussed uh, a broad understanding about a concept presented by this book. And
Mm-hmm.
we have also slightly discussed about the forward of the book and also the chapter one. So therein, Sudipto sir has very well explained about the negative apes, right, enablers and the dislodgers and stuff like that. And our viewers are aware about that. They are updated about that. So concept wise,
Mm-hmm.
I think we are trying to understand it better now. Slowly, we are getting into that mode. And today, I think we are going to discuss the chapter number 3 and chapter number 4 of that book, and we'll
Correct.
try and understand more about this book. I'm personally very enthusiastic about this Amazon best-selling book called Life Without If, which has been co-authored by Mr. Sudipto Chowdhury and Mr. Joy King Birize. Thank you so much, Mr. Joy. That makes everything so clear. So now, coming to the next question, which I wanted to ask you, it is about the behavioral continuum that Sudipto sir talked about it, and I know that's very interesting. The name itself is very interesting,
It is.
and
It is.
yeah. So I just wanted to just say that the concept is something like, I believe it is very unique, and at the very core of this book, that is the concept which is driving. So can you please explain the same for the benefit of our viewers about this very concept, the behavioral continuum? Yeah, over to you.
Yes, I'll explain that with pleasure. Now, when Sudipto sir and I started discussing this book, we were discussing human behavior, what causes success, what holds us back. There was one fundamental question that we keep returning back to. We kept returning back to. Why do some people consistently move ahead in life, whereas others are constantly stuck in the same patterns, stuck year after year, not moving ahead? And that is when we discovered the science of what we call in this book the behavioral continuum. Think about it this way, think of life as a spectrum, like a rainbow, where it's a continuous spectrum. So on one end you have people who are reactive, who wait for things to happen and then decide what they will do to it. Or you have people who are conditionally active, who think, okay, I want to act, but I want the perfect situations, and only then I will act. When all the conditions are perfect, that is when I'll do my action. On the other end of the spectrum, you have someone who's proactive, who decides, okay, these are my goals, my values, my mission. I'm going to act and I'm going to achieve that. I'm going to move towards it. There is someone who's decisive, purposefully decisive, who knows what their vision is, and they take steps to achieve it. So this is the continuum. And there is no bad or good. There is no complete negative or positive. It's not, you're not stuck in one behavioral pattern forever. You can move. That is why we call it a continuum. Even if you're completely reactive, the moment you realize this is what my problem is, you can move, you can align your actions to your visions, your missions, and your goals, and reach towards the proactive side. That is what the concept of behavioral continuum is. People who are on the right side of the spectrum, the proactive ones, the decisive ones, they are the ones who create their own opportunities, regardless of what circumstances they are in. And this is what the best part of this book is, in my opinion. You know, there are so many self-help books out there, countless, but they miss one point that a behavior is not a personality type. You're not stuck in one category forever. You can shift, but to shift, you need to be aware of where you are. You need to make intentional choices. So that is what we do in this book. The approach is that we have
Okay, can I just
identified nine.
interrupt? Can I just
Yes,
interrupt
please,
you
please.
for my own
Yes.
understanding? What I am
Mhm.
listening from you, from I am hearing from you is that behavioral continuum. or behavior of a particular person is not a personality type. Like, as I understand, personality type is, for example, for our viewers, just to elaborate a little bit, parking a few seconds over here, if I have the permission. uh, Personality type of a person is something like, say suppose I am extrovert or I am introvert. It is something within me. Like, I feel comfortable being around people. Is extrovert, and I'm very comfortable not speaking about something. Even if I have a fantastic idea in my mind, I don't want to share it. Like, unless and until I'm pushed to share that, I'm not very comfortable of sharing. So these are something which comes within us. It comes within us. It is inside me. But what you were saying is that that is very different from a behavior of a person. This is for my understanding. I'm just asking. So behavior
Yes,
is something like, it is not within me. It is something I have. How do you say? I have been doing. It's like habitual thing, which can be changed. Is what you were trying to say. Am I right?
exactly. And yes, exactly. And even in a behavior, there are subsets. Like, for instance, you told me you are an extrovert. I used to consider myself to be very proactive. Many people do, but it's not across everything. For example, I've seen so many people who are proactive about their health. Say, for instance, they take a lot of care about their health, but they are not proactive about their relationships.
Unlock the power of life without if. In Life Without If, we dive into powerful concepts that reshape the way we think and live. Behavioral continuum. Every action lies on a spectrum. Awareness moves you closer to your best self. Get ready to think bigger, act braver, and live with purpose.
So, behavior is a very wide term, and for any improvement, for any positive action, the first step is awareness of what are your shortcomings, where exactly you stand on this behavioral spectrum that I spoke about. So, what Sudipto sir and I have done is that we have identified nine specific behavioral continuums, not just one broad category. We will not tell you, okay, you are here or there. There are nine specific ones, like reactive to proactive, conditionally active to purposefully decisive, and so on, which is what we are going to talk about in the shows to come as well. So, there are nine different types. You might be very good in one spectrum, right at the positive end, and in one you might be, very towards the low end. So each one of us has certain behavioral, contents, and that is what we analyze over here. Where you are, there are a lot of research that is gone, before this book was penned out, and we not just give you the science, we actually work with you, and once you realize where you are through a lot of reflection, self reflections, question answers, pointers. Once you realize where you are, there is an individual chart, a pattern of improvement which is designed for each one, and that becomes your blueprint. That forms the core of this book, A Life Without It. So we need to understand what are our weaknesses, and only then you can move towards the positives. And to get that correct, the science of understanding your nine behavioral continuums and where you stand on it is the base, the foundation. Once I know, okay, I'm good in these five continuums or behaviors, a little weak on these four, then I can consciously move towards the more empowering end by having a set goal, a set pattern, a set to-do list with me. You have to stop being a victim of your circumstances at some point. And this book is about enabling you to be the architect of your own life. Even a small shift in a behavior can create massive changes for anyone. you know each field. The moment you know, okay, this is what I'm doing wrong, and then you make a small change, that is when you take control of your life. That is when you live a life that is based on what you want to do. You condition your life based on your visions and values, not something that is just happening. The chance to reinvent itself is the ultimate possibility of life, and that is what Sudipto sir and I have tried to pen down in this book.
Awesome. Very well explained. That's really amazing, Mr. Joy. I am becoming more and more enthusiastic about asking more questions about it because I'm connecting. I'm somehow able to connect the dots with what Sudipto sir mentioned in the previous episodes and what we are discussing now. Because he mentioned about a very interesting thing. He was mentioning that this book is different from the other self-help books, especially on the fact that the first part of the book is like. If we have to divide into two parts this particular book, of course there are so many chapters in this book, but for the sake of simplicity, if we just divide into two parts, the one part would be to understand the concepts which has been presented by this particular book, and the later part would be something you call as life without if Jim, wherein you bring the reader and work on the concept for himself so that you guys help him to develop a life plan wherein he will be able to execute that and achieve success in his life by design. Am I
Absolutely. Absolutely correct. Absolutely. I
absolutely
couldn't explain it
sure?
better if I had to. Yeah. So
Thank you
the
so
first
much.
three chapters, the first three chapters is the science, the concepts, the terms like behavioral continuum, intent versus actualization, etc., so that the reader understands what they are learning over here. After that, it's the gym. It's the individual plans that we start, the self reflection, the exercises that you have, and just towards the end of the book, Sudipta Sir's personal journey about how this science reflected through his numerous achievements in his life. So that's the validation and the end motivation that I, as a reader, need to start implementing what I've read. It's not like a motivation book where we tell you this is good and that is bad, but it is a guide, just like a gym. Use the correct word. We call it the life without a gym, where we handhold you, tell you exactly where you are, what you need to do on a daily basis to reach where you need to be.
Sure. Thank you so much. Actually, there was a call which came, so I had to
I,
just
I
look at the
understood.
phone.
I realized.
Uh, Excuse me for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Thank you.
uh, Mrs. Joy, thank you so much for explaining that. And the follow-up next question would be, like, see, every human being do have intent, to be successful in their lives, but not all of them are able to achieve that. And so there is a gap of intent and the actualization which is happening. And so I think in your book something called the intent versus actualization is something which is very interesting, which you talk as a model over there. And so a model which bridges the gap between intent versus actualization. If you could
Exactly.
just talk a little bit briefly about that, it will be good for all of us. Yeah, over to you.
Great. Great. This is something that I enjoy talking about, the intent versus actualization framework, which Sudipto sir originally thought about, and then we got together, polished and refined it, and penned it down for this book. So before I start that, I'll start with a famous quote, that we all have heard. Uh, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. All of us have good intentions. That saying exists because there is a reason. What we want to do and what we do is very rarely the same. I do not like to use the word never, but it is very rarely the same. Our intent is always nice and great, but what our actualization is, what we actually achieve, they seldom match. you know so intent versus actualization is a gap. It's the gap between your dreams and your reality. You know, a simple example is, think about January 1st every year. Literally for me, it has been every year. You know, we make these promises to ourselves on the first day of the year that I'll get fitter this year. I'll join the gym. I'll learn new skills. I'll take up an online course. I'll improve my relationships. All of us have something that we feel, okay, this is what I actually want to do. That's my intent. And what happens by the time we are in March? Most of these intentions have fizzled out. Either do not join a gym, or you cancel your membership, you drop out, or something like that. Why? Because having an intent It's like being on the starting line. That is nothing. Actualization is everything. Reaching the finishing line. And Sudipto sir and I did a lot of research, and we realized that 90% of the energy which humans have are generally invested in their intent, into planning and dreaming and wishing, and hardly 10% of it is utilized on actualization. It's useless if you're constantly planning, dreaming, and talking about what you want to do, but you don't realize you need to bridge the gap between your dreams and reality. And that is what intent versus actualization is all about. It's a model that shows you exactly what happens in that gap. Like for the on the intent side, you have your visions, your goals, your desires. But to reach your actualization, what stops you? They are the behavioral filters that we talk about, the behavioral patterns, the continuums that we spoke about. Your habits, your fears, your mental conditioning or social conditioning, your environment. These things either help you, support you to achieve your dreams, or they sabotage your ability completely. They turn uh, your good intentions into bad results. So when we fail, what happens? Most people think that okay, I need to set better goals. This goal was not good enough. I need to be more motivated, but that's useless. Uh, how can you change your goal or try to be more motivated towards the first goal? That's like having a bucket which has holes in it and trying to say, okay, I'll add more water. This time it will fill. No, it's never going to fill because you're going about it the wrong way. The gap between intent and actualization needs to be filled first. And that is your behavioral filters. We need to address them. How do we address them? We have given a framework in this book that's called as the intent versus actualization framework. Follow the system. There is a lot of self reflection. You'll realize exactly what is holding you back, whether that is the lack of willpower, or some conditioning issue between what is holding you back, your fears, your doubts. So this book walks you through step by step. It bridges the gap between intent and actualization. And trust me when I say this, the results are incredible. Because all of a sudden, the moment you start taking the right steps, your intentions are not just your wishes or dreams. They You can see them becoming close to the reality that you want to live. So that is why this framework is so beautiful. It's like a complex science that has been,
So
broken down, decoded. Yeah,
can
please.
I again just interrupt for a while here? What I'm
Yes.
just understanding from you is that we have a intent for somebody, right? And
Mhm.
intent at this point in time, I'm just considering that we have gone through all the ifs, negative and positive ifs, and we have done
Mhm.
some analysis about me, my behaviors, and then after that, I have been able to set my vision and goals. What does success mean in my life? And then after that, and with of course with the help of the uh, frameworks or the details or the diagrams which has been given in this book, which Sudipto sir also on the other day he mentioned about a diagram. We have shown the diagram to the viewers. So with the help of all those tools, I am able to grow as a person. I'm able to set up my goal vision, which is my, I would say, definition of success. And then I somehow am able to have that with me very clearly. Now, that is, if
Mhm.
that is called as my intent. So having an intent is very good, but that will not convert that into a successful life or into success. So what he was saying is that success, achieving success, needs something over and above that intent. And you have a framework. If we apply or if you implement or execute that, your intent will be converted into success. Is it what I'm trying to understand, or is it correct that I'm understanding from you?
It is correct. There's only one small thing that I like to add. This is not a magic mantra to change your dreams into reality. So we start with you filtering your intent in the correct manner. based on where you are, what you like to do. Are you good at doing it? And then we take you ahead from there. You know. So the
Of course,
first step
that
is
efficiency,
crucial. Having the
that
right
level of,
intent.
I think that's why one person is different from the other person, right? Two
Exactly.
children
Correct.
being born into the same house, from the same parents, and being brought up in the same scenarios in the same manner, still, they become different kind of people, different kind of
Exactly.
persons later on. So your
Absolutely.
framework is good, for everybody. Your framework is applicable for everybody, but how do you execute it, how efficiently you are able to execute it, or I think how perfectly you are able to apply that into your life, that will actually decide on how much you are able to convert your intent into the success level or degree of success that you are able to achieve. So am I correct in
Very well
saying that?
said. Very well said. That's perfect. Yes.
Unlock the power of life without if. In Life Without If, we dive into powerful concepts that reshape the way we think and live. Intent versus actualization. Bridge the gap between dreams and reality with clarity and action. Get ready to think bigger, act braver, and live with purpose.
Thank you so much. And now I cannot stop myself from asking about the very framework that you talked about just now. So can we hear
The
from you, like
diamond
what is that
framework.
framework all about? Yeah, over to
The
you,
diamond
please.
framework. Yes, it's also
Diamond
something
framework,
that,
sure.
yes, the diamond framework. That's what this book is all about. It's about living a diamond life, what we call it. And many of our readers have commented that this is the Chowking model as well. You know, that to me is a success model, the diamond framework that we just spoke about. Uh, why diamond? You know, we all know that diamond is one of the strongest substances on earth, not by accident. There is a structure to it, there's science to it. Each carbon atom is perfectly linked to four other carbon atoms, in a diamond. And that is what gives it this incredible strong structure. And that's how Sudipto sir and I have worked together to design this framework for human success, a strong, tangible framework. We've identified four key elements that you need to perfectly align to create an unbreakable strength in your life. So I'll elaborate about those four elements. First is your brain. Your brain represents your intent, your dreams, your vision. How clear are your thoughts? Can you see beyond what is happening right now? Can you look ahead? Your brain, it needs to be sharp and focused. That is when you know exactly what your intent is, where you are going, what are your, long-term visions and missions, goals, values, etc. Second is your heart. Your heart is your behavior, what drives you, what are your emotions, what makes you feel positive and happy and energetic, what lets you down and you feel it is very challenging. What are the things that keep you going, even when times are tough? So that is your behavior, your heart. Third are your arms. Your arms are your execution, the strength that you have to work, to turn your thoughts into action, into real tangible work that you're doing to achieve your dreams. And lastly, your legs. Your legs are your conviction. How much self belief you have. Do you have the confidence to keep moving ahead, even when there are difficulties, the path is not very clear, and you're not achieving the best results. But are you convinced enough that you are on the right path? Your action and your vision are clear. So first is your mind, then your heart. Once your intent and behavior is aligned, your arms to execute and your legs as conviction. And the magic is that when these four elements are all aligned, when they work together, you achieve your goals and you have what we call as a diamond living life. It's a state where you're not waiting for outside approval or outside circumstances or external validation. You create your own opportunities by following your own internal compass. That is the diamond life. That is what the framework helps us achieve by analyzing What is your intent? What is the correct intent? Helping you with a plan to execute with the right behavioral continuum, which is the nine continuums, and finally the conviction. The end result is a diamond life, and not achieve it and lose it tomorrow, but you have your own diamond blueprint which you have with you for life. You can print it out on a paper and just keep it in your wallet. And whenever you feel okay, am I right? Am I wrong? You open that, you once again return back to the basics, and you get back to do things right.
Absolutely. I think it's a diamond life, or that is the kind of, I would say, best level of success that we all aspire to achieve. And we are now discussing about how to achieve that diamond kind of a life or diamond life according to your concept by design. I
Mhm.
think. Thank you so much for sharing that framework. It's very, very powerful. Now, I think I'll move to one small question, which I just was thinking that I will ask it because this particular thing has been discussed with Sudipto sir also. I think quite often, and you, Sudipto sir, as well as you, Mr. Joy, you keep talking about these terms called conditionally active, purposefully decisive, right? So it sounds very, very interesting, very powerful. It is like keyword when we talk about the social media or something like that. So it sounds to be a game changing thing, the way you guys have explained so well. So I just wanted to again pause for a moment here and understand from you, maybe very, very briefly, because these things we have kind of discussed one or two times with Sudipto sir also. But to make it more clear today from you, we having you, definitely we will be having some more new or better perspective. So if you could please share with us, like what does it mean actually, and little bit detail about it in a very brief way. The transformation from conditionally active for somebody to a purposefully decisive scenario. Over to you, Mrs. Joy.
Thank you. This is what this chapter is about. We are now talking about the fourth chapter. There's this chapter dedicated to the first behavioral continuum, which we consider to be very important. From moving to being conditionally active to being purposefully decisive. And through our research and our studies and our discussions, we came to realize that being conditionally active is the most common human trait. It's the most common problem in a human behavioral continuum. It's almost all of us. Think about it like so. Honestly, you and all the readers or the listeners as well right now. A person who says, I'll start a new business when I have enough money saved up, or I'll ask my boss for a promotion, but let me get a little more qualified first, or I want to start working out, but I'm looking for a perfect gym, or I want to write a book, but let me have some more time first, You see the pattern? Everything is based on conditions. Everything is conditional. And these conditions are all external. It's not something that you can, improve or something that aligns with your ability or action. So these people are what they are doing is they're essentially waiting for life to give them permission to do what they want, to live their dreams, to achieve their goals. And what are perfect conditions? What is the guarantee that they will ever come? You know, and when they come, there'll always be another if. No, I need more money to start my business. I have my first goal, but I think thoda aur hoye to I'll be safer. I'll wait for better timings, better weather, or something like that. Things never happen. Now, the other end of this behavior, being purposefully decisive, these are the people who look at their core values. They look at their long term goals and they say, okay, this is what matters to me. So I'm going to do this, take some action regardless of the circumstances. It's okay. I don't have a good gym membership, but I want to act on my fitness. I'll go for morning walks, I'll go for cycling, I'll do something or the other. But I'm going to start taking those small steps. That is being purposefully decisive, clear headed. It does not matter whether you have a good bike or cycle or not. If not, you can always go for a 15 or 20-minute walk, But the moment you know that these are my goals, my values, my long term missions, and you start taking the first step towards it. That is when you're being decisive, you're taking control of a life. And this is a simple thing, but yet all of us wait for perfect conditions. This will happen, then I will do this. So that is what this chapter is all about. We'll make all the readers realize and self reflect and analyze where they are currently right now. And then we'll move towards the better spectrum, towards being more purposefully decisive. And do not get me wrong, to all our viewers there, being purposefully decisive does not mean being reckless or not being practical. No, no, no. You are not throwing caution to the wind and just doing anything. You are making calculated decisions that are based on your long term values and vision, not on temporary circumstances. So it's not being reckless, it's taking the actions to transform your life. So you have to stop asking yourself, what if the conditions aren't perfect? But you have to start reminding yourself, how does this align with what I'm trying to achieve in my life long term? And that fundamental shift, it's very small, but it's a fundamental shift to improving ourselves on this particular behavioral criteria. So we'll not just tell you, as I promised earlier, we'll show you where you are, how you need to move towards the right end of the spectrum, what are the exact steps you need to do to move from being conditionally active to be purposefully decisive, if you need that. If the self reflection is great, you are already on the right end of the spectrum, perfect. Let's keep it that way and move towards the next behavioral continuum. That's what is the beauty about this book. There's each one will have a separate result, a separate action plan.
Unlock the power of life without if. In Life Without If, we dive into powerful concepts that reshape the way we think and live. Frenemism. Collaborate even with rivals to spark growth and innovation. Get ready to think bigger, act braver, and live with purpose.
Absolutely. I would say, Mr. Joy, the other day I was mentioning briefly about my experience. Probably all of us live that kind of a situation, live that kind of a life, or experience that kind of a situation, conditionally active. So here, what I was mentioning the other day in the previous episode is that, Mr. Joy, in my life, for the last about more than 10 years, I was having this dream of writing a book. I was writing bits and pieces. I was just keeping it here and there. I was never, completing it. And I was waiting for the moment when I told myself that the day I have enough time to concentrate on each of these chapters, each of these contents, then I will complete this book. And I was always, thinking that, looking forward that I'll be able to complete this book maybe in the next 3 months or 6 months. And that 3 months never came in the more than 10 years, I would say. So it took more than 10 years for me. And then I started just to introspect myself. And I was asking questions like, was that condition so, I would say, unavoidable or so big that I had to wait for 10 years? Then I told myself that no, it's not going to continue like this. I'm going to do it. One fine morning, I decided that I'm going to complete this. It took 70 days to complete that book. And that book became Amazon bestseller again, from the
Wonderful.
countryside to the boardroom. So I again,
Wonderful.
rethink and introspect about myself after that. If I look back to my life, how many such similar circumstances I would have lived, or how many such success I would have missed in my life, in other words. So that's how I went back and I started looking at from my primary school level till now, and every level, so I found a lot of opportunities to improve. That's really game changing. And you are exactly talking about that, and you telling that, you will help the people to actually look at their lives and help them realize that where they are, and if they are there, how they can go to the next level. I would say purposefully decisive. So if somebody can move from the level of conditionally active to purposefully decisive, I think life can be changed. That's one of the aha moment that somebody can really bring
Yes.
into their life. Viewers, I think these are the powerful, I would say, uh, tips or tricks or mantras that we are able to gather from this amazing book called Life Without If. Thanks for watching, and let's continue watching. If you have any queries or suggestions, you can send your queries to the number shared below. Through WhatsApp, I will be able to answer to that question, or you can comment even to the handles that you are watching through. Uh, Mr. Joy, just coming to the next question, it's becoming very, very interesting. And another fascinating example that I have gone through in your book is the example of Wright brothers. You have very
Yes.
well mentioned about the fact that prior to Wright brothers, there had been so many people, so many ambitious people who have tried to, I think, bring in this invention of I would say aeroplane or flying whatever vehicle. So nobody were able to achieve that. In fact, I think government of America invested millions of dollars in that time. I think there was a scientist, if I remember, his name is Miss Langley or somebody, and they have tried
Yes.
so many times with the support of the government, with so many investment, so much of a huge investment from the government of America. In fact, the world over, even USSR, Soviet Russia during that time, they tried. I think they were not able to invent it. Finally, Wright brothers were the people who were able to invent it, and
Yes.
that was some very great example how they have been able to do that. Has been shared in your book. If you could briefly, very
Yes.
briefly share that with our viewers, that will be so nice. Yeah, over to you.
Perfect. Perfect. It's one of the things that I love about this book. These short stories. For each continuum, we've chosen one story which we feel is most relevant to this behavior. So for conditionally active to purposefully decisive, to illustrate the power of this transformation, we felt the story of the Wright brothers was perfect. It's classic. Why? Picture this, early 1900s. It's every human's dream, to fly. Because we didn't have flights at that time. It wasn't yet invented. So this notion of being able to fly had captured the imaginations of human beings everywhere, as you rightly said, from the US to the USSR, absolutely everywhere. So many brilliant inventors, again, like you spoke about Langley, were working on this problem. Some had more money, some had better resources, some had a lot of staff, etc. Some had better formal education. Everyone had their strengths and whatever. So everyone that I'm talking about now were better placed than Orwell and Wilbur Wright, the Wright brothers. What what was the difference? Why did only the Wright brothers succeed? The other inventors were stuck in a conditionally active mindset. Their thinking was, if we had more funding, we could build a proper flying machine. If we had better materials, this can work. But right now, I don't think it will work. Let someone else figure out the physics, then we will work on the engineering part and prepare the first flying machine. Same thing, the conditionally active mentality. They almost stuck. They are waiting for something else to happen, for the conditions to be better before they took action. But what did the Wright brothers do? They had a bicycle shop, but they looked at what they had available with them. They had some money from their business, they had basic materials which they had access to, and they had their own determination. They were decisive. They wanted to do something. So they didn't wait for perfect conditions. They thought, I want to do this. This is my long term goal, my vision. How can I achieve that? Let me take small steps. And that is the most important part for any vision or mission, to break down a big goal, a complex goal, into small, achievable, doable targets. So first, this was a massive and impossible challenge at those days. To think about the first flying machine. So what did they do? They first studied birds, then they built gliders, then they tested each and every idea that they had piece by piece. They needed consistent wins to test their ideas. They didn't have it. So they said, no, we are not going to wait over here for better weather. They packed up, they moved to Kitty Hawk in North Carolina. And that is where the weather was favorable, the winds were good, and they had the right conditions. So they tested their equipment. And lastly, and most importantly, things failed many times for them. There were numerous failures and crashes. They didn't give up.
Unlock the power of life without if. In Life Without If, we dive into powerful concepts that reshape the way we think and live. Minimize negative ifs. Break free from limiting beliefs and step into possibility. Get ready to think bigger, act braver, and live with purpose.
They sat down and said, okay, they didn't say our luck was bad and things are not working or let's give up. They were like, what have we learned from this? What went wrong? What do we need to change so that we succeed in the next attempt? What different do we need to do? And that is the bottom line of being purposefully decisive. Fear, doubt, and failure did not change their thinking. They did not depend on the external factors. Their motivation, their conviction was so strong that they were able to consistently come back and execute till they were successful. And this is very difficult. All of us do not have to go there and be geniuses and invent a flying machine. But the small goals that we have, if we break that in the same way, catch ourselves when we are being conditionally active and program ourselves to be more purposefully decisive, 90% of the job is done. Your intent will be very close to your actualization. That is what this behavioral continuum is all about.
Awesome. Thank you so much for explaining that so well, Mr. Joy. Very, very, I would say, practical and very, very inspiring, life-changing example of Wright brothers, I would say. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, I would like to ask another question. Probably this can be the concluding question for our today's session. The more discussions we will do in the next coming episode, but this is very important now. So, after listening to the conversation that we have been able to have in this particular show, most of our viewers, would be thinking that they probably recognize themselves in some of these conditional behaviors we are talking about, and they become conditionally active. And because of that, they keep waiting for money. They keep waiting for better timings or better conditions, to have the perfect circumstance to start something, to start moving towards their desired goal in their life. So that is the challenge, I would say, most of us have, and our viewers also would be having that. So here, I think you have done the research here. You have come up with this framework. You have said repeatedly that this is this framework all about. So if you could share with our viewers some practical steps, that very, very practical steps that someone can start doing from today itself, maybe, which will help them to shift from being conditionally active to becoming purposefully decisive. So if you could share some actionable strategies, which can be used on a day-to-day life, I think that will be a very, very big takeaway for our viewers today. If you could share some of those practical steps,
Correct.
that will be really great for us. Over to you. Thank you.
Correct. Yes. Thank you. I completely agree with what you just said right there. When we started writing this book, when Sudipto sir and I started, and I discussed it with a few friends of mine, everyone was convinced, yes, the concept is perfect. But what do I do tomorrow morning? Tomorrow is Monday. What should I do to achieve what you're saying? You know, I mean, in theory, it all sounds great, but what are the actionable steps that I have? And that is the bottom line of any advice. It's never motivation, it's actionable steps and results. So, this book has a lot of detailed things that we need to do, as I said before a few times. I'll tell you something in short. Four steps. First and the most crucial step in this behavioral continuum is to stop and catch yourself every time you are conditionally thinking. We all do it unconsciously or subconsciously. So for 1 week, if all the listeners and readers just start to, okay, every time I will say I want to do this, but or I'll do this when that happens, or you know if this happens, it will be so nice. So I'll be achieved to do this. I'll be able to do this. Or when these if thoughts, these conditional thoughts come to your mind, if you just make a small note of it, catch yourself. That is the most crucial part because you need to catch yourself. You need to understand that you are being conditionally thinking. If you don't understand what is broken, you cannot fix it. That's the old adage, the old saying. And if it's not broken, you don't need to fix it, right? So first, catch yourself. Don't judge yourself for doing it. It's human nature. And most importantly, don't try to fix it immediately. Just notice it, realize it, because unless you're aware of it, you can't change it, as we just said. And then, the moment you start catching yourself, you realize how often this is happening. This is an inbuilt programming, and unrealizingly, subconsciously, most of us are waiting for permission from circumstances. So you need to realize that. That's the most important step. Second step, and this is in very detail in the book of Sudipto Sir and I, in Life Without It. You need to be very clear, crystal clear on what are your core values and your mission, your long-term vision. Very important. Because to be purposefully decisive, you need to have conviction in yourself, and that comes with clarity. That okay, I'm very clear this is what I want to achieve. Whether that is your health, whether that is relationship, whether that is career, money, irrespective of what that is, clarity is important. So you need to ask yourself, what matters to me most in the long run? Whether it is when it's between career and money. Is it money? Is it career growth? When it's your health or relationships? You need to be very clear about what are your goals. Third, start immediately. Start small, but start today. Do not procrastinate. Do not put it for tomorrow. If you need transformation, it is not going to happen overnight. But if you keep on delaying it, it will never happen. So start today. The smallest step towards your goal. You need to program your mind to start immediately, to take steps consistently, and that is how you're going to reach closer to it. Just planning and thinking is not going to achieve anything. So even if the circumstances are not perfect, I said before, you want to join a gym, it's going to take some time. No worries. Start going for a walk, start cycling. If you don't have a cycle, walk. If you have access to a swimming pool, swim. Take a jog if you can. Whatever you can do. But there is something that you can do, some action that you can take to reach closer towards your goal. Take that first step today. That was my third step. Fourth step, and again, all the steps are crucial, but most people end up doing the three steps but miss the fourth. The fourth step is reframing failure. We all have heard this a million times. Failure is a stepping stone to success. Do not give up. If life knocks you down, get back up. And everyone who said this were really intelligent people. We spoke about the Wright brothers. They failed so many times, but they used it to learn what went wrong. What were their mistakes? Correct it. So reframe failure. You are going to fail. It's a part of life. Understand why you failed. Was it in your control? What you need to do better? Learn better. Educate yourself. Rectify the mistake. Move on. Take the step again. You need to ask yourself, what did I learn from this mistake and this failure? How can I make a better decision so that there is a better chance that I succeed tomorrow? That is a powerful tool that we have in this book, in this chapter, which will help the readers do that. It's easy to say, but doing it is a little complex, and that is why you need a proper framework with you. That is what this book gives you to align your action with your vision, with your long term goals, a proper roadmap. It's easy to say transform, but how to transform? Specific exercises, systematic assessment tools, strategies for different situations, how to reach at a better place. It's like an internal compass, which I spoke about, to show you directions about where you need to reach. So stop being a victim of your circumstances, start being an architect of your life, design your life by design, and live a life without it. That is what is the dream that Sudipto sir and I had while we got together to write this beautiful book. And now Life Without If is in all your hands out there.
Yeah, so for our viewers, basically, I would say three big takeaways if I have to talk about. The first thing is that if you have to change your behavior, you need to be aware of your behavior. Where are you now? And even prior to that, I would say behaviors are something which you can change. These are not personality types, and you need to change your behavior if you have to move from uh, being conditionally active to purposefully decisive. If you want to achieve success by design, you have to move yourself from being conditionally active to being uh, purposefully decisive. And you need to set up your intent, which will be in the form of your vision and your mission. Maybe that is the definition of success that you will have, which you can develop with the help of this particular book, uh, Life Without If. And then after that, one of the biggest tool that you need to, imbibe is, moving from being conditionally active to uh, purposefully decisive. I think these are few very big takeaways. I'm sure our viewers would have been benefited from these learnings, insights that we are able to get from this amazing book called Life Without If. And Mr. Joy, I think it was a fantastic moment with you to have this conversation live with you, because apart from your qualities and your background, is that the way you are able to articulate something, articulate the concept in an easy to understand manner, in a relatable manner, is amazing. Thank you so much for that. And also, I think the way you have explained in depth about this book is helping us or making us being more interested to continue the discussion conversation with you, and really looking forward to have the next show with you, the episode number 4 of BookFlix Live. And having said that, I would like to really thank you for giving the precious time and for being here in this show. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for explaining all those concepts so well. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for having me over.
Mr. Joy.
Thank you to all the viewers for your time. Have a great life.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joy, and see you in the BookFlix Live episode number 4. Thank you so much.
Looking forward. Thank you.
Dear friends, we are going to conclude today's episode, which is episode number 3 of BookFlix Live. Thank you for watching. I hope this show was valuable to you. If you have found it valuable, please do share the information about this particular show with your loved ones. And please do share your feedback as to how we can do better so that we can serve you better. Thank you so much. Stay joyful, keep growing, and bye bye. Thank you.